Hi, my name is Bowen Moreno. I am a cinematographer and photographer currently based in Los Angeles. Everybody wants to emulate film these days, including myself. I love to shoot film. I have shot 16mm, Super 8, 35, 120, all of it. Shooting film is pretty cost prohibitive. It's not the easiest thing for everyone to do. And so I do think there's a time and a place for emulation, and that's where Dehancer comes in. If you aren't familiar with Dehancer, it's a third-party add-on that you can get for any of your Adobe apps as well as DaVinci Resolve. They also have a fantastic new iPhone app, which is what I wanted to talk about today. If you haven't already, check out my full walkthrough of Dehancer. I have a link to it in my description below. I did reach out to Dehancer for a review copy of this app. However, all opinions are my own, and I just wanted to share them with you guys. Recently, I spoke to another YouTuber named Carter Nopick. I think that's how you say his name. Sorry, Carter, if I got it wrong. Go check out his channel. He's newer to the platform, as am I, and he has great content already. But he talks a lot about taking his stills that he shoots and bringing them into DaVinci Resolve. And I find that completely valid. That's something that I have considered as well. I just never really got around to it. And the reason he really does it is because Lightroom is great. It allows you to get pretty accurate color representation of film, but some of the more specific details of film can't really be done in Lightroom without a lot of extra work. And the examples that I have of this are like halation, which is that kind of red outline around your subject, or even sometimes bloom, which is just a general glow. Sometimes I can't even get the grain structure to look right within Lightroom for whatever reason. That's kind of where third-party plugins come into play. Dehancer does have an app for Lightroom, and I have used it. It's fantastic. But recently I was traveling in Europe for 2 weeks, and I found myself on a lot of trains and buses. I spent many hours kind of trying to figure out how to edit my photos on the go, trying to make them look like film. I did bring a film camera with me, but I also brought my A7 IV, which kind of was my run and gun camera. I was doing a lot of video work on the camera and just switching over to stills mode and taking a ton of stills. And so I found it really freeing just because I had the one camera in my hand where I wasn't having to sling, a film camera and a digital camera and all this different stuff. So for me, it was just really important to be as lightweight as possible. The look that I sort of gravitate most towards is a film stock look, whether it's Kodak Vision or Ektar or Portra or whatever it is. I think they really got it right in the analog process, and so now as digital shooters, we want to replicate that. I reached out to Dehancer because I remembered that they actually have a new iPhone app. As soon as I opened the app, I was blown away. It works very similarly to my experiences with using a node-based power grade, maybe Tom Bolis's Cineprint, if you've seen that on YouTube. There's also Juan Malera's power grade, which is great. I think Dehancer is right there with these grades. These grades are isolating layers and creating color transform nodes to go from your camera's color space to a linear color space, adding on a Kodak LUT, and you are isolating skin tones and matrix layers and all that stuff. And Dehancer's just doing that completely for you in the background, which I find super fascinating. So you might be surprised to hear that I did a lot of my edits that you will see here completely with JPEGs, compressed photos that I shot on my camera that I photo transferred straight from my camera to my phone and pulled up in the Dehancer Mobile app. Normally I wouldn't do this, but I kind of just wanted to test the limits of the app and see how good it actually is, and let me tell you, it holds up. I ended up pretty much doing my whole process like this. For some reason, I just turned my camera off of RAW transfers and just did JPEGs. I have an older iPhone, so I didn't really want to take up a ton of space. The way that I kind of achieved this look overall was I shot my JPEGs and baked in somewhat of a look, similar to like what you would do on a Fuji camera with the recipes. I used a creative look, I think is what Sony calls it, based on something I saw over at Cam Mackey's channel. All credit to him. So this is kind of the way that I set up my Sony photos. So after I had that baseline, I just transferred them to my phone, JPEGs, baked in look, and then I opened up the Dehancer app, and this is kind of my process. So without further ado, I thought we could just kind of grade some photos during this session, kick back a little bit and hang out. So let's check it out. All right, so now we're inside the Dehancer app. I'm going to select one of my JPEGs. here it is. So I'm gonna go over to source. So I'm gonna go over to presets. And right off the bat, you can see there's all these different LUTs or looks to choose from. So you have the Minolta, you got the Ortho, Portra 400, which everyone's familiar with. So you'll also notice it says Fujifilm Instax plus 2383, which the 2383 is the actual like photographic paper that it's printing to. And then you go over to Lomachrome, which is like a meme stock in my opinion. And then you go over to Vision 3 500T. Okay, so here's your before, here's your after. It's awesome. So we go to edit. So with this, it's pretty simple. You can boost your exposure. If you go up here, you have a waveform. Let's turn that off. Adjust the temperature. Go a little bluer on that. Defringe, right? And then let's go to films. So right now we're on the Vision 3 500T, but we can also go to the 50D. We can choose any of this stuff. It's all really, really nice. In my opinion, this is like Visco 2.0. This is everything I wanted out of that app, but now we have an even more powerful film emulation. So you can push it, which is overdeveloping your film, making it more contrasty, pulling it, underdeveloping, less contrasty. Boom. Let's go to developer. You can boost the contrast. You guys know how all this stuff works. So also we have compression, we have expand. You can clip your blacks if you want to, pull down the black point, do the same with the white point. I never really adjust this. So now we're in the print stage. This is kind of the analog process of printing your film to paper, which gives it more of a different look. With the 2383, you get more of like a contrasty blues look in the shadows. And then Fujifilm, I never really use. You have the Endura glossy paper, that looks really nice. And then linear, which doesn't really have an effect on the colors, but you can kind of make some adjustments in here. So I'm gonna choose the 2383 because I like that look. And then color head, this is when you can kind of do your printer lights, so you can adjust the magentas, the blues, the reds. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I like it there. Maybe we move some of the red this way. That's nice. So film grain, right? So let's zoom in a little bit to our photo. And we can change the amount of the grain. We can choose the size. We can choose the resolution. We can choose how much is in our shadows, right? Choose how much is in the midtones. Pull that down. Let's pull down the highlights. Let's pull down the amount now. Yeah, this is starting to look really nice. Before, after. Got some realistic grain in here. Halation. Actually, let's pull down the size even more. And the amount. So now we're in the halation, which is that red glow. Change the local diffusion, change the global diffusion. So let's kind of look at this window pane right here. And I think if we amplify it and we change the impact, global diffusion, boom, local diffusion, it's coming in. It's coming in real nice. So let's turn it down all the way, turn it back up. Some nice red glow. I love that. And then we have the bloom. So we can turn the bloom up in the same way, the impact, amplify it, make it more intense, highlights. There you go, you see it more in the window over here when I do that. And then of course you have the vignette. So up, it turns the corners brighter, and down, it makes them darker. So here's our before, and here's our after. So let's choose another one. I'm gonna click on that. And already, it's just looking so filmic. The halation's going a bit crazy. I'll probably turn that down. You can kind of see it in here. And it's actually saving the last edits that I just did, which is a very intuitive way of working. So if I wanted to, I could just save my last edits as a preset. Go down here, Kodak Vision 3. I'm gonna name it that plus like Bowen's edit. And then sure, it's my name, save it, and there we go. Like, it's already taken care of, but I can still go in here. I'm gonna change the halation, turn down the amplification. I might go in here, turn the blacks up a little bit, other way. And I think one of them is contrast. Turn that down. I'm just gonna change the white point, change the black point. I'll just go in the developer tab, turn down the contrast boost. If I wanted to, I could go in the print, change the print film, something else. So there's 2383, it's looking nice. All right, so I'm just gonna select another one. Let's go to that one. So already it's looking good, but here, let's go to presets and let's go to category. We're gonna go Dehancer team. You can just kind of choose a preset, one that's already selected. Kodak Gold, looks like it could be a good start. I'm gonna go to edit. Let's go to print, change the exposure, bring it up a little bit. Of course, I love the halation and I wanna bring that in. So let's just go and try to do that. Global diffusion, local diffusion. Okay, now the glow is coming in. Before, after, it's looking great. The bloom's already on, film grain, it's already on, but we can just go ahead and look at that. And you can kind of see there's film grain there. So, I love it. Save to gallery, it's on my phone. Let's choose another. There's some green here, let's do that. So, it's probably going with my last edits. Okay, this one's nice. Eterna Vivid 500. Expired 2013 plus 3513 paper. So there's before, there's after. I'm not gonna do that much. Oh, not that. I'm gonna do my exposure here in the print stage. It seems to retain the detail. I'm gonna turn it down, take down the contrast, saturation right here, density. It's a very subtle adjustment. Analog range limiter keeps it without clipping. Amplify. Let's go to halation, turn up the local, turn up the global until we start to see a glow. There's the glow. And then just save it. This app has sort of been my secret weapon for photo editing. If it worked for you, leave a comment. And until next time.